Hey there, this is your teacher, Mr. H, and you're watching History in a Hoodie. Today's episode is about the Revolutionary War, where we will learn all about Georgia's participation in the colony's bid for independence. I can't wait to find out, so let's get this show started. What are we learning about today? The standard for today's lesson asks the students to analyze the significance of the Loyalists and Patriots as a part of Georgia's role in the Revolutionary War. Before we start, let's go over some vocabulary for today's lesson. Loyalists and Tories were colonists who supported Great Britain and the King during the Revolutionary War. Patriots were colonists who supported independence in the Revolutionary War. The Battle of Kettle Creek was a Patriot victory in Georgia led by Elijah Clark. The Siege of Savannah was the failed attempt for Patriot forces to retake the capital of Georgia from the Redcoats. The Revolutionary War started in 1775, not 1776, in New England with the battles of Lexington and Concord. No Georgians were present at this battle, nor most of the battles of the Revolution. In fact, very little fighting occurred with the Georgia militia and the British Redcoats at all. One of the major reasons why the war avoided Georgia for the most part was because of the number of Loyalists in the Georgia colony. It has been mentioned in previous lessons that Georgia was not a very successful colony and needed economic assistance from Great Britain all throughout the colonial period. Because of the support still received from England, many Georgians remained Loyalists, also known as Tories, which means that they remained loyal to Great Britain and did not support the Revolution. There were some Patriots, or those who supported independence, in the colony, and because of that, there were a couple minor battles in our state. While famous battles like Saratoga and Yorktown were waged in the north, a couple much smaller battles took place in Georgia: the Battle of Kettle Creek and the Siege of Savannah. One victory for the Patriots and one victory for the British. The Battle of Kettle Creek was led by Georgian Elijah Clark, who attacked the camp of British Loyalists. Despite being greatly outnumbered, Clark's Patriot militia defeated the Loyalists, and the battle raised the morale of the Georgia Patriots. Clark may be the leader who had a Georgia county named after him, but the hero of Kettle Creek was Austin Dabney. Dabney was a slave who fought alongside the Patriots, and his swift actions saved Elijah Clark's life. Dabney would later be granted his freedom for his heroism in the Revolution. The port of Savannah was retaken by the British Navy pretty quickly in the war. Patriot forces hoped to keep the ball rolling after Kettle Creek and free Savannah from the British using a siege. A siege is when an army surrounds a city and waits until the supplies have run out. The starving army would just give up. This was the plan for the Siege of Savannah. Patriot troops surrounded the city, but didn't wait long enough before attacking the city. Any morale boost gained from Kettle Creek was lost, as 800 Patriot lives were traded for only 18 Redcoat lives. Ultimately, the Revolutionary War would be won because the colonies would come together, with support from France, and form the United States of America. While some of the problems of the Americans would be solved by forming a, quote, more perfect union together, it was only the beginning of other problems. America would continue to struggle as it attempted to create a new identity. So what? How can conflict cause change? If there was one certainty of the American Revolution, once the British attacked the colonial militia at Lexington and Concord, nothing was going to be the same again. No matter how the war turned out in the end, a line was drawn in the sand and change was going to happen. If the British prevailed, the colonies may have been more like a prison camp than an economically prosperous corner of the British Empire. But, as we know, the Patriots won. The Revolution, not the Super Bowl. And this led to a massive change in the world. This revolution led to a century-long rivalry with Great Britain, and another entire war in 1812, cleverly named the War of 1812. The revolution led to the start of other revolutions around the world, including the eventual collapse of the British Empire. But in the new United States themselves, the major change was that they would have to find another reason to work together now that their collective enemy was defeated. These people were not only just former Brits, but also Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, German, Austrian, and dozens of other types of people who would have to learn how to work together to form a country. Not an easy task. Now what? What am I going to do with this information? Now what is exactly right? Congratulations, patriots, you have won a revolution. You have freed these people from oppressive colonial rule, and the United States of America is now recognized as a country. Now what? Fighting a revolution for change is actually the easiest part in this story. Making the change happen and making the change last are the hard parts. In our country, we revere the Founding Fathers, sometimes to a fault. These famous leaders, Washington, Franklin, Jefferson, Hamilton, and others, were the smartest people of their age, and their collective wisdom built the foundation of our country. Now what was their problem? You have these 13 states that have never worked together before other than fighting a war together. 13 states with very diverse populations with different cultures, backgrounds, traditions, and needs. And somehow, Washington, Franklin, and the other leaders are going to put them together like puzzle pieces into one country that needs to last hundreds, if not thousands of years. That seems a tall order. One of the biggest problems of leadership is not solving the one big problem, but having answers to all the little problems that show up after. And you can't save those problems for later and call them somebody else's problem. You're the leader and they are your problem. Leadership takes determination, inspiration, compassion, and even a little bit of luck to pull off. It is a very difficult job, which is why our strongest leaders are so often remembered through our histories. Wow, so learning about the revolutionary battles is really important for us to understand. I'm glad we learned it today. Are you ready for some review questions? Which of the following best describes loyalists? Which of the following statements best describes the siege of Savannah? Who was the leader of the militia who led the forces at the Battle of Kettle Creek? Which of the following groups did not support the king? Who was the soldier of mixed birth, black and white, who was seriously wounded at the Battle of Kettle Creek while saving Elijah Clark's life? I hope all of you learned a lot from today's episode of History in a Hoodie about Georgia's contributions to the Revolutionary War. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Just kidding, I don't care about that stuff. But do make sure you study this lesson. Bye now.